Welcome, everyone. It's the Mike Tech Show, show number 980. Tonight, I got a great show. Adobe Reader install tip. That is very important. It's a link you're going to want. And as I was putting that together, I got a great email from John Dubinsky. And he was the one who had the great DNS tips. He sent me a collection of random sites that I love. And I even have more to cover. So that's it. Let's get started. So first, something I ran into, a client called me. They were trying to install Adobe Reader. I can't believe that on that system, I forgot to install Adobe Reader, rolling it out. I was just shocked. And this was a new person at the desktop, and he said, he sent me an email. He said, I've been trying to install Adobe Reader, and I'm getting this error that it can't connect to the site. And I was like, really? It kept getting the error. And I was like, you know what? I said, leave your system on. I said, I'll log in, after hours, and I'll take care of it. And I found that I was getting this error. And then I was like, you know what? Let me try to install it on my system, just messing around. I couldn't get to the site. So they were clearly having a problem. So what we're going to do is for the first link for tonight, and I'm going to switch to the full screen mode here. This site is get.adobe.com/reader/enterprise. It is for you to be able to download the entire install. You know how crazy Adobe is with their install. It takes forever. I had to do that today. I need to load my USB stick with this. You're going to love this. This is a site where you just go pick your operating system. You pick your language and you pick the version, it's going to be Windows 11, here. So Windows 11, and then select your language. And then there's your reader version and English. Now they have the 32-bit there. That's okay. But you just download it and that's it. There's no extra add-ins, and it installs quickly. I got that installed in a matter of a couple minutes, and it was just gorgeous. So, one to keep in your tool bag. As a matter of fact, all of these sites you're going to want to keep around somewheres. So, let's go on to the next site. So here's some of the random sites. So John says, thought they might be useful. He's been cleaning out some old work stuff and he found these sites. John's retired, but he can't help himself. John's a really good guy. And he doesn't know this. And I said this in the pre-show. I am going to do everything to try to do a meetup in September up here. And I'm going to try to convince him to come up and participate on a Saturday. And then I'm also going to try to get Marvin B. and do something down here in Oldsmar, Florida, where I got an incredible clubhouse that I just got to find the right Saturday that I can rent it out. And I rent it out for next to nothing. This would be a free meetup and with incredible content. And I'm glad John's involved with stuff. You can't lose this. It's like, I'll be doing this forever, So let's take a look at this site. Microsoft 365 Network Connectivity Test. This is a automatically detect location, or just add your location and you run a test. So this is Bing Maps provides street address suggestions and geocoding for your location. So I'm going to run the test because we'll allow this time. Let's see what it does. This is wrong for me to be doing this live over the air. So what I'm going to do is not let it finish there, but no one in nearby locations have better network connectivity to 365 than your location. And it gives this chart. And I am the best location, and this is from my Pennsylvania site. So I'm synchroed in to a test workstation. This is great. It's one of those. Here we go. Network health status. So you can get a 365 Microsoft 365 network health status. Here's the next site. How about everything you wanted to know about Microsoft 365 licensing? They keep changing the names on us. They keep changing what they... what did it? It finally did something. Anyway, that was the beep. Let's take a look at Microsoft 365 Business Standard. Here we go. And then you have activity reports, the adoption store. Let's see, alert practice. Let's take a look. Alert policies in the Microsoft Defender portal. Everything you want to know about every Microsoft product right there in one link. How cool is that? Is this great? Microsoft Teams, Enterprise, Premium, Rooms Basic, 365. I have a lot of E3s out there. Exchange Online Protection, InfoPath app. I never use InfoPath. I don't know if anybody uses InfoPath. Built-in security features for cloud mailboxes, service description. And this is advanced email protection. I have E3 because of compliance for a bunch of clients. So it's a lot more per month, but there's more security, more compliance. There's what they call journaling, where we set up the more for financial advisors. This is for FINRA compliance, where every inbound and outbound message is journaled back to their broker dealer, to a compliance account that's stored there like for 7 years, in case there's any lawsuit or something. So I've had to work with the compliance officers of some of the broker dealers where they're very specific on how to get that set up. So anyway, another site that you just, wouldn't be thinking about that you need. So now this is interesting. And let me bring up the notes here. So this is something else that you need to set up for your DNS. Oh, first, let me go back. So for that maps for 365 and all the licensing, it's a great place to start to look up Microsoft licensing. So the deep down differences between each of the versions within that family. So now you can properly recommend. You're like, what's the difference between E1 and E3? Well, here you go. So that's what it's really for. We got 2 websites here. And this is something you need to set up for your DNS. It's security.txt. Cloudflare makes this easy. Did I mention that this is John speaking, the absolute best place to purchase and manage domain names is cloudflare.com. My domain names, I still go to GoDaddy because I'm just so familiar with their DNS and it's so easy. Now, for hosting, no. For email, absolutely no. Which is kind of funny. Today, we're gonna wander a bit. We're gonna weave. Okay. So today, this made me think of it, mentioned in GoDaddy. I have a client in Clearwater. They're an advertising agency. And they bought 3 computers against my recommendation. Okay. So they got the all-in-ones and, of course, Windows 11 Home, not Pro. So I have a test account that we use that gets me in real quick because I don't feel like doing the bypass and everything. So if it's home. So I log in, but they're getting brutal. Windows 11, every time I go through a new setup, And these are Dell all-in-ones. And I went through, and they just keep, the questions are horrible. And this one detected that I'm in Florida. And it noticed all of our installs are normally in Pennsylvania. So Microsoft, being security conscious, wanted to send me a code. Well, I have a dummy Gmail account that I use for this. Luckily, my son has access to that. I said, could you log into the email and get the code? He says, yeah. And he says, oh, by the way, Dad, if you send a text message, it's going to go to my cell phone, because he's the one setting them up more than me. And I was like, great. So he gave me the code, I got in. But here's the thing. They have Microsoft email, but they bought it through GoDaddy. I hate running into Microsoft where they purchased it through GoDaddy, because you don't get the true Microsoft tenant panel. And I've talked about this, where there is a way to move your client through. It's a process. You got to answer some questions and go through the form. But I work with another MSP, and we hate when we come across new clients that purchased Office through GoDaddy. And it's just, we want control. We want complete control of the tenant. Anyway, that made me, because I had to deal with that today, and it was ugly. So he continues, so many DNS services available for free with super fast propagation and easy management without all the marketing BS. I got to agree there. I hate all of the marketing, and that's a real pain. So this is to set up your security.txt file. So step one, and then you fill in all this information, and it will give you what your security.txt should be. You got frequently asked questions. This is really good. And then here's Cloudflare link, which it adds security.txt setup wizard. So there is a setup wizard here where you can easily create that. And I got to go through this. I haven't had time since I received these. And this is just another, more security, more info. DNS, a lifetime to master. You know, it truly is. I learned something all the time. I never knew about the security.txt. Kind of embarrassed that I don't know this, you know, and I think I know a lot about DNS, and, you know, you're humbled when someone hits you with all the different things that you can do. It's great. I love learning, and that's what this show's about. It's about learning. The next two websites are great. This one, endoflife.date. That's right. End of life and support information. It's definitely hard to track or very badly presented. This documents the end of life dates and support life cycles for many, many products. Wait until you see this. So let's get back to my test system. When you go to endoflife.date, here you got devices, you got here, let's go operating systems, you know, all the different Linux and iOS, Mac OS. Let's do Apple Mac OS. And you can see, so you know what Microsoft or what Apple doesn't tell you? They actually have end of life. Their life cycle is like less than 4 years. It is brutal. It is brutal life cycle. Way, way, way worse than Microsoft. Microsoft is extremely generous with their life cycle. So it's something I hate, because I have to keep buying, you know, OSs, the latest OS, because I want the security updates. I want everything. I need the latest version because of, you know, Apple clients. So we have server applications, services, you know, Apache, of course you get the Microsoft ones, but this is incredible. It's everything you could ever think of. That's why this is what a great site to have in your bag. End of life date. And I didn't even know you could have a .date extension. That's great. Very clever. And check that out. I think you're gonna, definitely use this when you start to, you run into a client that's got, hey, a Google Pixel. What version do they have? When is it? Here you go. The Pixel 8 Pro discontinued 2 years and 4 months ago. Let's see. Android updates for that device ends in 4 years and 7 months. See, what great information. Here, the Pixel 10 Pro ends in 6 years. So it was released 5 months ago. This is everything you need for, how about an Apple iPhone? Let's take a look. The 17 Pro, 5 months ago, in production. I'll tell you, since I haven't pulled the trigger on I have a 15 Pro, I may end up just waiting for 18. So we'll have to see. There's two things why I haven't changed, and we're going to talk about one towards the end of the show, the last topic. I'm going to bring that up, which is about Microsoft Authenticator. So anyway, play with this. I think it's great. This way you can give the answer to your client when they ask this, or let them know, hey, you got to think about retiring this. This is end of life, and let them know. All right, let's get to this. I can't wait to use, and I can't wait till John hears this on what I'm going to use it for. And I sent the link to my son because he needs this, and it's called Readometer. That's right. The website is ireadthis.online. Is a free browser-based tool where you paste text to instantly get estimated reading time and basic reading statistics with no sign-up required. John used this page all the time when he created his business newsletter. It was called 60 Seconds with Your Maven, and his company used to be the Maven Group. And this page lists how long the read time is. So, that is so cool to keep the tech simple and the number of words handy to make sure that he was delivering his message in 60 seconds. Now, John and everybody, when I was a BNI member, and my son's now in a new chapter up in Pennsylvania, you have to give a 30-second commercial every week. And he's in such a large group, they ding you if you go 32 seconds. You have 30 seconds only. So he can practice his 30-second commercial right here. So you would type out what you want to say, paste it in here, and then you're going to get all the statistics for what a great... I love the idea of the newsletter and testing. How long will it take to go through the newsletter? So if you're saying, hey, you can do this in 60 seconds, you better deliver on 60 seconds. What a perfect site for BNI. As a matter of fact, when my son gives his 10-minute presentation, I'm going to make sure that he lets everybody in the group, they're going to love this, and a way they can all manage their commercials to be within 30 seconds. I seen that and I was like, oh my, that was just perfect. We have some emails, and I got a couple from John, and by the way, he sent that end of life date after some of all the others, and he sent me another one that I'm going to save for another show. So let's start with some other. There's a couple emails I want to get to. This is Greg, and this is no. First, let's go to Jason Miller. Okay. He was listening to the show about the Adobe problem with the fonts. And he said, Mike, just curious if you tried to install that font into the Windows storage or take it from your computer and copy it to his. I have not, and I couldn't find the Helvetica on mine. I couldn't find it on his because one of the recommendations that came up from Steve in our chat, in the show chat, was to actually delete it. So this way it would have to go to its default font. Very, very interesting. But I am going to still try to find this, and I am going to copy it and see if that fixes this. And then he says, going out on a limb here, but just a thought. No, it's a good idea. Also, one other thing to try when you fully uninstall Adobe Acrobat. Did you delete all the folders and app data and other Windows folders that leave stuff behind? Yes, I did. Maybe it's retaining a setting or some sort of corruption there to reinstall. I used Revo uninstaller and ripped it out of the system. And yes, there were a lot of registry entries and a lot of things left behind, and Revo ripped it out. As a matter of fact, it found so much stuff that I thought I had it. When I was using Revo, I got this. This is going to work. Nope, no joy. So just a few thoughts. Either way, great shows. Keep up the good work. Appreciate you a lot. Jason, thank you. Always great to hear from you and to hear your tips. I am going to try that. Now, on to the next topic, which I'm going to cover. And this is because of Greg. Greg sent me this email. The only way that I was able to transfer MFA codes in Microsoft Authenticator to a new phone was by setting up another MS account. I used Hotmail as a backup, which can transfer back to my real MS account on the new phone. That's great that you were able to do that with one account. I have almost 40. What am I going to do? So one of the things that I put together here as I was starting to research this, Apple, and I can only talk about the iPhone. If you bring up Authenticator, which I'm going to do right now, and I am typing Authenticator. If I could spell it, there we go. Now, one of the things Authenticator does is it tells you at the top now, your accounts now back up to iCloud. Authenticator now uses iCloud to automatically back up your accounts because I have. I just keep scrolling and scrolling. I have so many accounts for MFA. So here's on the old iPhone, you have to update, obviously, Authenticator in the App Store to make sure you got the latest, greatest version. You have to make sure that your phone is signed into your Apple ID, and iCloud backup and iCloud keychain are enabled in the settings. Then you open Microsoft Authenticator, and under the settings backup, turn on iCloud, cloud backup, and sign in with a personal Microsoft account if prompted. Wait for the backup to complete and verify there is a recent backup time shown. I am not getting that on Authenticator because it's telling me when I go into settings, it's just, import verified IDs, export. So maybe export verified IDs and export your verified IDs to keep them safe. You'll set a recovery phrase to keep them safely encrypted. You don't have any verified IDs to export. See, that is why I need someone who has went through this, because even as I read these procedures, it doesn't quite line up with the latest Authenticator and the options I'm seeing on the latest iOS. So on the new system, it looks like I'm backing it up. But when I look at the apps that are backed up, why am I not seeing Microsoft Authenticator? See, I'm afraid to go to a new phone because I can't lose these. Even though it says it's being backed up, I need a guarantee that I'm going to get them back. This is one thing that is holding me back from updating to a newer phone. So anybody that's done this, that has multiple MFA accounts with an iPhone, that, and even if you have an Android and tell me the story, right? Please put the steps down and say, you know what? This worked and this is what I did. I need someone that's went through it and that can send me the process. So it says install the Authenticator from the App Store in the new program. On the first screen, choose Begin Recovery, Restore from Backup. So, I don't, or similar, and sign in with the same Microsoft account you used for a backup. Well, what Microsoft account am I using for a backup? I got 30 of them here. See, they're talking about one. I'm talking about, 30, 40, 50 different MFAs because we're consultants. We're MSPs. We have to keep these for everybody, for all of our clients. And when I transferred phones, when I went from the 13 Pro to the 15 Pro, that was a nightmare with Authenticator a few years ago. So wait for the accounts to restore, then test logging into your protected accounts to confirm codes, approvals. And this is for like a single user. And that's why I was going to put this together as a PDF and I want, where's the MSP version for this? That's what I need. I want my MSPs out there who've upgraded to a new phone, who safely migrated all of their Authenticator settings. I want to hear from that. Please, MikeTechShow@gmail.com. I would really, really, really appreciate it. And I will absolutely cover that on another show. So, just a little housekeeping. Next week, I'm going to do the show a little earlier. I normally start 7:30 p.m. on Thursday nights. Don't be surprised if I send an email during the week that I may even do it earlier than 7. I may do it at 6 p.m. Eastern time. I want to do it early because I got to get up at the crack of dawn on the 27th, on Friday. I got an incredibly jam-packed day. I got to get up early and pick my son Ryan up at the airport, who's coming down. And I can't wait because we're going to go to a bunch of Phillies games. As a matter of fact, we have a Phillies game that afternoon. So he's getting in. Then we're going to go to breakfast. Then we're going to go to the Phillies game. And what am I doing after the Phillies game? I am going to see Barry Manilow with my wife. That was one of her Christmas gifts. And his concert, because of health reasons, was postponed down here in Tampa in January. And it's now February 27th. So then I'm doing that. And then I will collapse on Saturday. So so I want to get the show done. I don't want to skip a week and then make sure that it gets out. Now, the following week with Ryan here, don't know what's happening that Thursday night. So I will decide over the weekend, and then I will I'll use X and I'll use Facebook and let you guys know. So I think that's it. Now, anybody watching this on YouTube, you're like, why do you have your Phillies shirt? Why do you have your Phillies cap on? That is because this weekend is the beginning of spring training. Saturday, they're away. That's their first spring training game. But the first home spring training game is Sunday. And I can't wait. This is my time. This is why one of the reasons I'm in Florida this time of year. And yes, it's to hide from the ice and snow up north, but it's also for baseball, and it's for spring training baseball. I enjoy spring training baseball more than the regular season. Take a look around the room, and you understand how big of a Phillies fan is. So I am. That's it for tonight's show. Please go to MikeTechShow.com for the show notes. I'll be posting them up in a few minutes. And then, hey, if you check out the video on youtube.com, Michael Smith, MTS, click subscribe. Really appreciate it when you get the subscription numbers up, And while you're at the main website, you feel like, you know what? These sites really help me out. Mike's going to do a free meetup. Maybe a donation might help. If I help you in some way like that, please, if you can, whatever it is, greatly appreciate it. I appreciate everybody who supports the show from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. And I will see you same time, same channel next week. Bye-bye, everybody.